Welcome back. We're going to continue with forms of agricultural communications as part of the Learning Module 1, Exploring the Storyteller. So we're going to keep on trucking. Let's talk about radio. In 1915, the first radio broadcast of weather and crop reports was aired. The broadcast was generated from the University of Wisconsin and was transmitted in Morse code. On November 15, 1920, the first regular agricultural radio broadcast began. It was broadcast over shortwave radio in code and was sent to 2,500 ham radio operators. The first vocal broadcast was transmitted in February 3, 1921 by the University of Wisconsin. The broadcast consisted of a weather report. The first daily radio program expressly for farmers was started on May 19, 1921. It transmitted USDA market reports on air. KDKA in Pittsburgh was the first licensed station to carry the broadcast. The first farm radio commercial was broadcasted in 1922 and was heard on the October portion of Farmer's Noon Hour on KFBB in Grand Falls, Montana. In 1923, the first full-time farm broadcaster, Frank Mullion of KDKA in Pittsburgh, took the air. By 2000, agricultural media in the United States had exploded. The main sources of ag media that year were 101 agricultural newspapers, 432 magazines, 1,001 AM stations, 745 FM stations, 12 state and 3 regional radio networks, and 3 television stations. So we're going to move on to something a little bit more emerging, which are podcasts. It seems like we've been hearing that podcasts are the next big thing for several years now. However, like most things that have been tagged with this title, instead of bursting into the mainstream, podcasting has slowly built up a significant following. According to data from 2008, 44% of Americans have listened to a podcast, 26% of Americans listen to podcasts monthly, and 33% of Americans ages 25 to 54 listen to podcasts monthly. Podcasts do not require you to be sitting by the radio to listen to news. You download it to your phone and take it while you're traveling or on the go. Receiving podcasts of farm and ranch news is gaining popularity. It's convenient. Whenever one wants to listen to this news, they can turn it on and listen to it. The decline of farm radio has contributed to the rise of this new technology. If you look at the 60s and early 70s, farm radio had more of a presence in rural markets. Now many radio stations across the country have gone to satellite programming to cut costs. Podcasts present a perfect opportunity for agricultural communicators to recapture some of that market. And lastly, we're going to tackle broadcast television. In the 1950s, television stations were being built in an increasing number, and farm broadcasting took to the television screen. In September of 1951, the first regular farm television show began in Memphis, Tennessee. Television offers the advantage of using both sight and sound to deliver its message. Farm programming on television is broadcast primarily in early morning hours and weekends. However, farmers are also consumers of other television programming for weather and news as well as entertainment. While a significant expense, most agricultural companies do not invest in nearly as many dollars in the production cost of commercials as do other companies. Satellite television dominates the farm television category with 61.6% of producers using satellite television, 29.2% relying on antenna television, and only 11.5% of a farm audience having access to cable television. Television programs focus on agricultural and rural topics and have a loyal audience across all types of television access.